the answer to all your questions is walk with God.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a part of that walk. It's not a literal take off the suit and now you're done. I'm not wearing my false self suit anymore. Yeah. You have to engage into this exchange program and trade away your false self way of surviving, or a mask that you put on, or a strategy that you utilize, and trading it in for what God originally designed us for. So here's another list. You move from protecting to trusting, from performing to resting, pretending to revealing, reacting, you move to responding, hiding, becoming, and fear to love. So it's not a one-time event. It's a rhythm of moving through life.
Yeah.
With God, there is always more. More love, more life, more freedom. Welcome to Zoe's Exploring More with Michael Thompson. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Our Heavenly Father has provided many delightful ends for us along our journey, but He takes great care to see that we do not mistake any of them for home." Join me and the team as we explore the kingdom together, discovering the deep truths and offering encouragement for the journey. There is always more.
Welcome, friends and allies, to the Exploring More podcast. Michael Thompson, S.J. Jennings, hanging out, exploring the kingdom, and in the middle of a series, 4-parter. This is 3.
Yeah.
And I in our what do we do? Pre-preparation, pre-game preparation for this series. I felt like we left quite a bit of some things. Yeah. Kind of not on the cutting floor, but on the exploration desk. Sure. With the second episode. So I do, before we hit the break, want to hit a couple of those things. But but we're going through the series on Scott D. Jennings. It cracks me up every time because I know him as SJ, and the book that he recently published and wrote over. I think in the first episode, if you want to get technical, 10 years.
Yeah,
which I really like.
To it.
Which I really like, as we have a couple friends who are cranking out books, and you know who you are, you and your Claude and Chatter and other AI things. But I felt like that's the kind of effort that it really. It takes me, not 10. I mean, that was a long time, 10 years. But of course.
No, but from Genesis to completion,
of course.
And for a long time, I wasn't working on it. It just, I needed to
I remember,
more healing before I could enter into it.
And Search and Rescue was the same. It was a 10-year journey to come to writing. Mm-hmm. And then even then, a few years to do that. Mm-hmm. And so, I love it, and this is what we're exploring, and I just want to kick off with section 2, episode 2 was about the good news. Yeah. Right. The bad news being the false self. Anything to just go boom, 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 and to review to tee us up now that you want to share? Yeah.
I mean, like we always say, the best thing about the false self is that it's false. So despair not, dear reader, because there is good news on the horizon, right? And I mean, I think I even shared about it. My bride Sherry said, "Do you really want to call it bad news and good news?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do.
I'm so glad you stuck to your guns there." That we had a conversation too on the Good Man series, the training that we're doing with those 250 guys, and one of those was talking about survival. These were things that we learned to do to survive, and I know what he was pushing back against the idea of the false self,
and it being a negative thing or a bad thing. Yeah.
And I wanted to, and I honored him and said, well, that you're right. These are things that you learn to do to survive, but that doesn't mean they're good.
Yeah, I think of
back to good news, bad news.
Yeah, I think of one of my favorite films. I always watch it if I'm flipping through channels and it's on there. Is Castaway. Thank God for the life raft, but I don't want to live in it.
Right. Yeah, it helped you survive. Yeah, and coconuts, and an ice skate, and right the things that you had to do
but
to
it's
survive.
not what's best,
no,
right?
That's a great analogy, and I think, for those that hopefully we're not ruffling feathers, but this is the things that you learn to survive, because, and I'm going to say this not tongue in cheek or not, because you were abused as a child,
assaulted, yeah.
And a multitude of other things.
Yeah, man. So that's
or you were silver spooned. You were given everything.
Right.
You were so there's it
all
doesn't
kinds
matter
of different false selves.
which ones of these things contributed to your way. I think you said the opportunity. I want free. Yeah, there's a ton to talk about. I love it. So I'm looking at 6 things. I can say any one of them, but I think about, man, SJ, this is no respecter of persons. This is every person has found, and this is the first couple sections of the book, found ways to either survive, promote, protect, all the different things that arrange for. Thank you. Arrange for. Great word. So, but I would love if we could just hit a couple things before we jump into
so false self,
episode.
The good news is there's a true self, and it's not something you transform into. It's something, it's your identity that you return back to. I almost ran out of breath there. You return back to more and more, peeling away all the things that are not you, taking off all the things that are the false self, the things you put on to survive, so that you can return back to this identity that's in you as you were created.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, okay, that sounds great. How do we do that?
Yeah.
And
I think your emphasis on, you got to see it first.
100%.
You got to see these ways, and from, the things that happened that shouldn't have, and the things that shouldn't have happened that did. How did that shape you? How did that train you? You have a quote in here. I love it. You're not who you learned to be. Right? You're not who you learned to be. We come in with a pretty white whiteboard. We come in with a pretty empty canvas.
Yeah.
And lots of people get their markers and their spray paint and begin to tell you.
Right.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't be brought up, but not all of that bringing up was with care and kindness and love. So it has a way of affecting you and impacting you that can be very, very, very difficult.
One of the things I wanted to touch on before we get into the Enneagram, we didn't have time in the last
we set
episode.
It up a little bit, but
Yeah, so a little bit of how this works. Chapter 6, The Great Exchange.
Yeah.
Right? The Great Exchange is the ongoing process of releasing the false self and embracing your true self. It's surrender, not the white flag giving up kind of surrender, but the sacred surrender of the version of you that was formed from fear, the image you use to feel worthy, the masks you hide behind, the strategies you use to control outcomes, and the persona that earns you admiration but costs you peace. So trading all of those things, like I imagine as I said that and ran down that list, that there's somebody who's like, man, when you put it that way, I want to trade those things in because that's not good,
right?
but it's an inner shift. So it's not. This can be what's frustrating, I think, initially, and then I hope encouraging.
Yeah.
The same way at the end of every event that we have hosted, as long as you and I have been together, the answer to all your questions is walk with God.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a part of that walk. It's not a literal take off the suit and now you're done. I'm not wearing my false self suit anymore. Yeah. You have to engage into this exchange program and trade away your false self way of surviving, or a mask that you put on, or a strategy that you utilize, and trading it in for what God originally designed us for. So here's another list. You move from protecting to trusting, from performing to resting, pretending to revealing, reacting, you move to responding, hiding, becoming, and fear to love. So it's not a one-time a one-time event. It's a rhythm of moving through life.
Yeah.
And it's the process. But to your point, as you said earlier, you can't engage in that process if you don't see it first.
Right.
And,
all right. I want to take a break.
Yeah.
And before we get into the next section still, I got a couple other things. I want to talk about the wave. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about how we bring these. I have a story of bringing survival into new seasons and how how unhelpful it is.
Okay.
So we'll be right back on the Exploring More podcast. Men, however you arrived at the Good Man series, curious, tired, skeptical, or even hopeful, you are welcome here. This journey, it starts with an invitation to slow down, an invitation to tell your story, and most of all, an invitation to listen. Listen for what God wants to reveal. At Zoe, we believe every man is asking the question, am I a good man? And we also believe that there is real goodness in men, placed in your heart by God, and it's worth fighting for. As you watch these sessions, bring your honesty, bring your courage, bring your whole story. God has been preparing for your arrival, and He's ready to meet you here. Welcome to the Good Man series. Welcome back to the Exploring More podcast, in the middle of a series about Scott D. Jennings, my friend SJ's new book, and
The Life You Built.
The Life You Built. Sorry, I should say that. Sure,
okay.
The Life You Built, and I want to just because of what you were saying, I've been working with this person the last few weeks, and they grew up in a fatherless home. Mm-hmm. Then a father steps in, a stepfather, mm-hmm. and it does not go well. Mm. This person was looking forward to having a dad, ex-military, heavy-handed, white gloving, and they told me that they remember getting to the place where when they heard the car come in the driveway. Mm. And you know my story. When I was a boy and I heard the car come in the driveway, my brother and I got all excited, ran around the house, and hid because
under blankets.
Because
or
my
cushions
my dad would come home and it was just, where are the boys? What did you do with the boys?
Yeah.
And it ended up in rustle and tumble on the
giggling and all
5
that.
o'clock shadows, all of that. So that was my experience. Well, this experience was when the tires hit the driveway. Oh no!
Line up for inspection.
It was, oh no! What haven't I done? And the message, he's going to be disappointed again.
Oh yeah.
Where? What did I miss?
Whew! I just felt that generational energy.
And
like, where did his stepfather learn that?
And so...
And he's taking out that frustration of his experience on this young man. Oh, my gosh.
And then they had, in the new marriage, they had a couple of their own. Mm-hmm. So there was just a whole bunch of stuff in here about the survival. And what did I need to do to not get yelled at? What did I need to do to... Because it was never pleasing enough. So my point is, bro, that in this survival thing, that goes down the aisle in the marriage.
Oh my gosh.
That goes down the aisle. I mean, that goes out of the nursery when now they're parenting. Mm-hmm. And they're not parenting their kids that way. They've swung the other way. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I'll never make my kid feel like that again.
I'll never put them under that stress.
So the survival piece is like, it just has a way of not just echoing, but being powerfully present in your current reality. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, what do I need to do to not get spanked or hit or rung up? But that's not how you need to now live. Mm-hmm. With that shadow.
Yeah.
And feeling like you're a disappointment and are going to be a disappointment and deserve to be, because that's what you were told. I mean, it's really
the trauma response of even if his wife goes away for the weekend and says, hey, would you take care of this, and this? She drives in the driveway and he has a trauma response because he hasn't done what she asked him to do. I mean, it just never fades.
So when I said to them, I said, hey, what would it look like to not live under a chorus or a choir of disappointment that could start to sing at it? And they said, with tears, I don't know what that would be like. Mm-hmm. I don't have any idea. I've never lived that way.
Right.
And so when I think about this great exchange, right, being able to turn that in, mm-hmm. Maybe it served you for a while, because that's something people like to say, SJ. Maybe it served you for a while. Well, surviving is a good idea, but it's not serving you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it can't be all that good.
Right. Yeah. So survival mode is a mode we have to get into at times, but we're not designed to live there all the time.
Mm-mm. No. Yeah. You know what? I mean, because that's PTSD. I mean, if you're at war all the time, right? What's our film that we show? He was at war with himself. And
Antoine Fisher.
Antoine Fisher. You know, Antoine Fisher's at war with himself.
Yeah.
You know, and what he had to do to survive is mm-hmm. not working for him in his 20s, in relationships and in engagement with fellow officers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
let me go to page 71 here in the book and talk about this great exchange a little bit.
Yeah.
And the heading here is the surprising grace of limits. So one of the first gifts the true self offers is the gift of limits. The false self whispers, I can't let people down. I have to be everything for everyone. Needing help makes me weak. Saying no means I'm selfish. Whatever this man's whisper would have been, right? I have to do it perfectly. I have to get it right every time. What is it that I haven't accomplished today? Why am I so lazy? I mean, all of these whispers. But the true self says, this is the exchange, and the limitations. The true self gives you the freedom to put up boundaries. I call them limits here. I'm human. I have needs. I need rest, and I'm allowed to do it. I don't have to be responsible for other people's disappointment. I don't have to earn love. And your limits are not flaws. They're sacred strengths. Boundaries that protect your soul.
Amen.
So any place where you feel like This is another way of trying to see this maybe from a little bit different angle, right? We're up on the observation deck. Well, let's walk over to this extension and look down from over here for a second.
Yeah.
Any place you have these places in your life where you feel like there aren't boundaries there, your false self's probably operating. Because you're either trying to protect or please or provide in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, it just so reminds me of what you're reading and speaking of the fatigue and the exhaustion that comes from codependency.
It's terrible.
And again, if that's the vigilance that you lived under, like I have to do this or I won't get to eat. Or I won't get to leave my room.
Yeah.
I won't get to be apart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. These can be that weighty, and then there's the 1,000 paper cuts. Mm-hmm. Some of those things doesn't mean that they're not as bad, but the contribution of those, the collection of those things, can really bring about this false self-dominant way of operation, and even a chameleon complex.
Oh yeah.
What do I need to do so Landon? And then I go in the other room. Okay, for the example of, he says something about the weather is just too much, too warm.
Oh,
I
know.
Yeah, you're right, and agreeable, and agreement. Step into the other room and you say, man, I love this warmer weather trend. Yeah,
it's great. I love being hot.
And I don't really have an opinion of my own. It's I'm reading. What do you need?
The
me
only
to be?
opinion you hold in that scenario is your management of the opinions of others.
And say that one more time.
Your value.
It reminds me of Mike Rollo. Say that one more time, right there, right there. Everybody,
good old Mike. Yeah. The only opinion that you have is that. Let me say it this way: the only opinion you have is that your value, worth, significance, belonging is based on what other people think of you, their opinion of you.
Yeah.
And man, that's exhausting.
And just to put a number to it, what do you think the percentage of people who live that way is?
Almost 100.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Because and I would say too, there's some that are easy to spot.
Oh, yes.
You can spot a chameleon if you spend enough time around them.
And you have to see him.
Wait a minute. A second ago, you told me you hated the hot weather.
Yeah, if you followed him in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, you would see it.
But I would also say, the overly aggressive guy, he's concerned about what people think about him. Even if he says, I don't give a rip what people think about me. You're lying to me, bro. I know you do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it just manifests in these different ways.
And the reality, right, SJ, is we all do because we all want and need to be seen, to be wanted, to belong, like you said. So this is about...
And because we're going to the wrong source for that.
That's exactly.
Yes.
I know, yes.
We're trying to arrange for it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like maybe we're hitting this over and over and over again. The reason we're doing it is because you're not listening. No, it's the core message of this book.
Yeah.
Is being able to see where this thing is operating so that you can get free from it.
Yeah. It's okay if it happens to you. I got accused in Heart of a Warrior of being somewhat redundant in the first 7 or 8 chapters. And
never bothered me, man. No, I'm not saying that just because you're my friend. I'm telling you, when I first read Heart of a Warrior, I was like, I could have had 17 chapters telling me what a beloved son I am. So I need it.
So all I was going to say is, we do a session and have done a session on 2 sessions on, but we were talking about a movie that becomes a series and a film that's 2 hours.
How much deeper you can go in the
versus
series.
6 episodes.
That's exactly
what I love about your book is these are all the things that we could have, should have, and would have said if we had a whole conference on this.
I had a guy tell me 2 weeks ago, we should do a false self conference and just stay in this book the whole weekend and others. Yeah. But yeah,
well,
man.
And
maybe so.
And I think when we do our conferences, and you allude to this in different places too, we do. We do. Now, granted, you go into some great detail, but we do.
It's a deeper dive.
This false self is in the context of the two realms, two kingdoms, and the false self has its basis from the woundedness and father and mother and others. So, you ask a question that I want for. I think it's a listener reflection or something.
Yeah, at the end of every chapter, there's questions to
and we got to get to
consider.
We got to get to the
for
Enneagram.
Reflection and practice.
Do you know the question I'm asking that we talked about in pregame?
I don't remember.
When do you feel most like yourself without trying? Now, this person I was describing that I'm walking with, trying to help. Their answer basically was, I don't know what that even. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right. So I think it's this one. It's at the end of chapter 5. When have you felt most yourself in the past year? What were you doing? Who were you with? What made it feel safe and genuine?
All right,
again,
ready?
Just trying to see it, right? This is the true self now. Yeah. We're trying to see your glory. We're trying to see how you're wired. We're trying to see how God made you.
In and under
you're not arranging
under the
for
jump
anything.
rope,
right?
But really just. So read it one more time.
When have you felt most yourself in the last year? What were you doing? Who were you with? What made it feel safe and genuine?
There's an assumption in there at the very beginning. What is it?
That you can actually be in touch with what you're feeling?
You can be in touch with what yourself is.
Right. Right. I felt most. Yeah, that's why in the question, it's in quotes. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. And, because, you could apply the way your false self operates to that question.
Yeah.
But
Landon, let's ask the author.
Yeah.
When have you felt most like yourself in the past year? Who were you with?
Yeah.
Where were you? What were the circumstances?
I would say the most recent one that comes to mind is, like you, I meet with couples occasionally, and I was sitting with a couple, and they were telling me kind of what they were going. This is kind of a somewhat advanced couple in this message.
Okay.
So they've done a lot of the work already. I wasn't starting from ground zero.
I felt like that with the circle the other day. Like, you guys are all varsity.
Right.
Like, this is not. You guys have been at this 4 or 5
we don't need to talk about
and
fundamentals
10 years.
for the first 3 hours. So I was having the conversation with them, and they were sharing. He would share. She would share. And I just felt, I did not have the athletic career that you had, any kind of way, shape, or form, but I do have a couple of memories of being in what's referred to as the zone.
Yeah.
Where it just seems like every shot goes
flows,
in.
Yep.
I hit I played tennis for a little while. I just hit everyone just right, And I was in the zone with these folks.
That's a great example.
And I just felt strangely, I felt, how can I say this and communicate what it is that I mean? I felt naked and unashamed.
That's a strong way to say it.
I can't think of a different way to explain it.
Yeah.
There was nothing in me that was operating out of the false self in that moment. I was helping them, listening to them, interpreting for them.
Pure goodness.
Yeah, man. no, don't speak to her that way. Try again, and, okay, let me tell you, come with me. We're going to go up here, up onto the observation deck. I'm going to show you what's happening. This is how it's working.
Yeah.
And this is what is being provoked in you, and this is what's being provoked in you. Yeah. And the session, it was kind of a session. It was impromptu, but it lasted more than an hour. And the guy said to me, in my whole life, no one's ever talked to me that way. And I'm so glad you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably a little disruptive to him.
Oh, for sure.
But at the same time, he
and affirming for
and
her.
knew that you were actually doing it in a loving and caring way.
That's right.
That's powerful. Makes me think, as you were talking about that, the quick illustration from Patch Adams.
Oh yeah.
When Robin Williams' character is in the asylum with Rudy, and he has that night, where
squirrels are attacking.
Yeah. And the next morning, he goes to the psychiatrist office. Mm-hmm. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm. I'm cured.
It's the answer to the question.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself being my most myself.
Mm-hmm. I know what I want to do.
I know what I want to do with my life now. Mm-hmm. I know that, and staying alive, is why I check myself in. Mm-hmm. I'm checking myself out so I can go be alive. Mm-hmm. And that is the power of when you're doing something that is in that sweet spot mm-hmm. and in that zone. It's telling you something.
Oh my gosh, it's totally telling me something, and that's part of my glory. And for sure, I've said it before. I have a counselor's heart. But I would also say it gives us a glimpse into what it feels like to live freely. So, even earlier this week, I get invited to allow part of the black suit to reattach itself to me. Right? The parasite.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, the black suit.
In a way that I've gotten free from.
Yeah.
And I know I have, because I've done the work and I've lived without this agreement that I have to be
helpful.
Included in. No, this is a different one. Included in every meeting. I need to know what's going on. My worth comes from being the guy that has all the answers and this and that and knows everything. Ugh. But I get invited in the moment as I watch two team members go around the corner and have an interaction with one another that I'm not a part of. I get invited into, what are they talking about? Why aren't you invited in there? They should know that you should be in that meeting.
Yeah.
All of this starts to chatter. So I get to move away from. So my point in bringing that up is there's times where you can find your true self in the way that I felt when I was meeting with that couple. And I think, too, there's times that you can move towards and embrace your true self as an antidote or as a way of doing battle against the false self. Yeah. So, as it tries to represent itself to you.
Yeah, and it will.
Yeah.
And it's going to.
So it's not all about how it feels, although that's a great way.
Yeah, it is
answering these questions.
It's one of the gauges on the dashboard.
Exactly.
Once you find out you have a dashboard, if you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's some of the maintenance involved too, and once it's off of you, don't let it back on. So
yeah.
So let me. How much time do we have?
We got 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can you swing into the Enneagram a little bit?
I can. Yeah.
I want to hit that, and
sure.
And this has all been all relevant, all significant.
Yeah.
The Enneagram is not about putting you in a box; it's about showing you the box you're in.
That's right.
Great quote.
That's right. Quote. That's how it differentiates itself from other assessments and tests. Yeah.
The Enneagram gives language to patterns you've lived with for years, but couldn't quite name.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Mm-hmm. And the goal is not to become your number, and we'll talk about, for those who don't know what the Enneagram is, the goal is not to become your number, but to become more aware of what's been shaping you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would add one more to that, and whether or not it's quote, I don't remember, but the Enneagram is about helping you understand your motivations behind your behavior. It's all about motivation.
Yeah.
The Enneagram, and like, what are you trying to provide yourself with by operating in this way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give a couple paragraphs to what it is. What's the Enneagram? I mean, when did we come into it? 15 years ago?
No, it hasn't been quite that long.
Okay.
But it was about 2018.
No.
Yeah, it was maybe 17.
Yeah.
Okay, it was
right after you joined. So that's 10 years.
Yeah,
okay.
So right before we filmed the Rendezvous Project, because then we found it so helpful we included it.
Yeah, for marriages, right.
But yeah, it's a system to help you assess kind of your gifting, your glory, but also the motivation behind your behavior, and how you might use your gifting or glory to arrange for love or safety or being seen or any of those things.
9.
So like if for example, as a type 8 on the Enneagram,
and there's 9.
That's right, 9 numbers,
types.
Right, 9 types. Then there's 3 different triads: the head, the heart, and the gut. Right, and so those 9 numbers are broken up in that way. Each number has 2 wings. And they're the numbers that are directly adjacent to your number. So an 8 can't have a 2 wing. An 8 is either a 7 or a 9 wing.
Yeah.
Now, what's really interesting about that is that you can, when 8s are operating out of the high side of behavior, or like operating more in their true self, they tend to exhibit as 2s. The high side of 2.
Yeah.
Right? So it gets a little nuanced and complicated as you move through it. But.
Which, when you think about an assessment, how thorough could it be? And I feel like this is one of the more thorough assessments, not to be confusing, but to be, you really can't fit in one box, in one number. There's just too much. There's too much of us. There's too much to us. There's too much about us.
Right, and that's the point. It's not designed to put you in a box.
Right, but to show you, as you quote it, the box that you're in.
Right. And it's a map of motivation, no doubt.
Yeah, that's a really great.
About that.
I haven't heard you say that particular phrase, a map of motivation. That's really, really good. So.
And the reason I included it in the book, Michael, was because it really does help you see the nuanced way that the false self has been operating in your life, or it has the opportunity to.
That's what you say. You say,
no point. There's no doubt.
You said Enneagram as a tool, not identity. So therefore, not excuses nor reasons. Right? It's just a tool. It does give you the patterns of the false self, and it does show you the ability of what healthy looks like. What we would say the true self. Yeah. And the awareness of it all. It expands awareness. Right. But I want you to talk for some of the last few minutes, and if we have to carry some of this in the next episode, we will. Yeah. But I love that you did it anyway. That this comes with a little bit of risk, the Enneagram. What am I talking about when I say that? For those of us who kind of know the controversy or the
there's a bit of a controversy with the Enneagram in Christian circles in particular, because of its questionable kind of background, or not background, but origins. It's kind of hazy as to where it really came from, and is it based in the mystical or the occult or this or that? Well, and then there's just camps that say it's not mentioned in the Bible, so it's probably not biblical. So, which is just interesting to me. The long and the short of it is, man, I take my the opportunity that you've granted me through being a part of the team at Zoe, on the guide team at Encounter, and now being an author, I take it seriously. And if I was really in a place where I thought it was going to do more harm than good, I would not have included it.
Right.
But I personally have felt it and found it to be so incredibly helpful. Not initially, it was for Sherry and I to understand one another. I got the book, Ian Cron's book, the
Enneagram and...
No, I don't know why I just drawn a blank on it right now. But anyway, it'll come to me. It's got the U in the title. I even recommend it at the beginning of the book. Now I've got to stop and look it up, but because this is going to drive me crazy. 40 minutes is where we're at? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, the road back to you.
Yeah.
The road back to you.
I knew it was a U.
Yes.
The Enneagram and you. No, it's the road back to you.
When I first found, or it found me, the book Ian Cron's The Road Back to You, I'm reading it, and I start reading about Type 8, which is, I took the assessment, I came through as a Type 8. I'm reading about how the Type 8s operate and how they see the world and passion and intensity and all of that. And most people interpret that as anger. And Sherry goes, yeah, we've been married for almost 30, this was 10 years ago. We've been married for almost 30 years. And I just thought you were angry all the time. Like, I thought you were just a mad guy. And which played right into her belief about herself, which is, if someone's upset with me, it must have been something I did wrong.
Right. Ones.
She's a type 1.
Wounded ones.
So it helped us to see so much in the context of our marriage.
Yeah.
And then I started applying the use of the Enneagram to myself, my own heart, my own journey of unraveling the false self from my true self.
Yeah.
It helped me see the motivation behind my behavior like nothing else has. So, again, I understand there are people that feel some trepidation around it, and some of them are vehemently against it, and that's okay. There's a but for every seat, as I like to say, right? This book may be for you, it may not be for you. The Enneagram part, you can skip over it if you want to, but I put it in there because I find it very helpful.
Yeah, if you're on the line with that, if you're someone on the line with that, or even like, I heard about that, I would say that, the redemptive work of God, I believe, would allow you to take it. That's my opinion. That you should take the Enneagram. That you should take the assessment.
The assessment, yeah.
And I-9, no, what is
Ready, RHETI, is one of them.
Yeah. Do you list that in the book?
There's a couple
places, yeah. But I found incredible, same thing.
I made the assumption in the book that most people may not be familiar with it.
Right.
So I told them to start with Ian Cron's book.
Yeah.
That's a primer on
easy.
On the Enneagram.
But eventually you're going to you need to take it.
But eventually you got to take an assessment.
And there's a couple places you can go.
It's worth paying the $10-$20.
I recommend the $60 one.
Yeah.
Because it gives you so much. I mean, not that, all those who have taken Taylor Johnson's and Myers-Briggs and all those, you don't know.
The DISC assessment.
Yeah, DISC. I mean,
that's the challenge with this and any other assessment of any kind. So, my false self can take that assessment.
And that is the point. It's very, very helpful to see.
But I will say, to your point, the more nuanced it is, and in some ways the longer it is, you can manipulate it if it's 20 questions pretty easily.
Yeah.
Maybe even if it's 100. But some of these ones that we're talking about, it's a few hundred questions.
Hard to hide.
It's hard to hide for that long. Yeah.
And that's and the point again. I think the Enneagram is a little different. The other assessments, I think you're saying, can actually tell you and reinforce your personality profile a certain way.
That's right.
While this actually shows you this is how you're relationally and motivationally trying to make life work.
Yep.
And it says, and here's the unhealthy part of that, which it has quite the description. It reminds me of Paul in Galatians 5.
Oh, yeah.
Living by the flesh or living by the
Romans,
Spirit.
Right? Like, here's all the stuff I don't want to do. Here's all the stuff I do want to do. Yet I still do all this stuff over here.
Yeah.
So what is the deal with that?
So it's striking in that regard.
Yeah.
And and I think back to other things that we've done to explore all this stuff. I've told you the passion verbs is a great exercise. It's a great exercise. And
especially when paired with something like this.
And yet I remember when the Spirit really showed me that you use these things to get love.
But I love that.
And I was
that's a motivational tool.
That's right. I was like, wait a minute. I do. I have.
Yep.
I did. I don't want to do that. And so, the data is the data, and then the color is the color. How is this nuanced? How is this? And this is the kind of invitation, the life you built, and being accepting the invitation to being a student of you. And that goes back to the earlier chapters on the observation deck. Can you slow the roll? Can you move with way less reaction and way more intention because you're actually seeing the game? And when you can see the game in that way, you're back to the flow. You can flow in the game.
Yep.
You're
in the zone.
You can move in the zone, and that comes
game slows down.
That comes to you
It does.
as much as you go and get it. It's a wonderful way to live.
Yep.
And then you can, when you hear something that's not right, it's probably not right. Or you hear something that's probably not right, it's not right. So you can make those kind of
or you get invited, to move back into this luring kind of idea of, remember that used to work for you before, and you had to arrange for this, and you had to. No, I don't. I see that now. I'm not doing that anymore.
If you use 2% of your consciousness, and this book helps you get to 4% conscious.
Oh, bro.
That's the point.
Absolutely.
How much are you missing? How much are you not seeing? How much is not being evaluated, assessed? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think the life you built is helping give you a lens for not only inventory, but your reality, your current reality right now, and a path to make change,
and
to
let's
see
get
change.
some of that old stuff off of me, man,
us,
and keep it off.
Super good, man. So
thank you.
We'll hit some Enneagram stuff, I think, in the next episode.
To start in the next episode, maybe a little bit more, and then. So they can find it. You can find it on Amazon. You can go to thelifeyoubuilt.com. It's available in either place, and would love for you to pick it up and share what you think about it. I mean, I'd love to hear, I've gotten some really amazing reviews, but more just like feedback of, oh my gosh, I never saw it this way, or
What'd you get that first 2?
The 2-star. Yeah.
And that guy hates the.
I'll just assume it's his false self. That's
right. That's exactly that guy. The Enneagram. The guy that's warning everybody about it. So hey, thanks for joining us on this episode in this series of the book that Scott D. Jennings wrote, The Life You Built, and we'll continue. We got one more episode on our end, and look forward to getting to that. We'll see you next time on the Exploring More podcast.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Exploring More. The landing page for this podcast is zoe.org/podcast. That's ZOWEH.org/podcast, where you can find the show notes and various platforms to which we broadcast. You can also find us and the Life of More by visiting Zoe on YouVersion Bible app, Right Now Media, our Facebook page, and Zoe on Instagram and Twitter. Remember, with God there is always more, and you were made for more.